Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a continuation of the Let's Colour we've done so far this month. I have a part 2 out already. If you haven't seen that, I'll pop it in the description below so you can watch that first. We are colouring in Color N Chics 2 by Derya Cakirsoy, and we're doing the Fairy Lake page. This is how far we have gotten, and this is Prismacolor. I'm doing everything in Prismacolor except for the hair, which I'm going to have a go with my new Lyra Rembrandt polycolor pencils, because they're a much harder pencil lead than the Prisma. These Prisma smears, so I suggest a piece of paper to go down underneath your hand when you are working on everything. These leaves took a little bit of forever and a day, so that's why there's a little bit left to do on the side, which I will finish off and sort out. I just wanted to get this next part filmed with you guys so I can begin the process of sorting that out and getting it up after the first one for the channel. And obviously, of course, I will pop all the pencil colours I'm using in the description below so you can follow along if you like to. But essentially, whatever shades I show, you want just something similar and you can create the same thing. Or even, you know, use your own colours and just sit and colour with me and we'll do it together. Right, I'm trying to decide, shall we do the hair first? Let's do a little bit of hair. As always, I'll show you some and then I'll finish the rest off at the end to bring you back in and show you the completed page. I think we will start with, we'll just pick a little patch somewhere and make a start. I have in the Lyra Rembrandt polycolor set, I've picked, wow, that is a long number. I'm assuming, let's see now which part they all copy. I'm assuming I've picked 002 cream, 076 Van Dyck brown, 082 brown ochre, 075 dark sepia, and 080 raw umber. You want a very dark neutral brown and then a lighter neutral brown, a slightly yellow brown, and then bringing that a paler shade again in a yellow brown. And then I've got this cream, looks very yellow in the polycolor. They don't really match their captains. That is what I will say for them from what I've noticed so far. So we're starting with our darkest colour. You want nice sharp points on your pencils for hair. And to be honest, if it's personal, you do it however you want. But if I'm doing hair, I use a harder based pencil, so maybe an oil pencil or something with a harder lead, and I just work from the top of whichever section I'm in with my darkest colour, just dragging that down in strokes from one point, and then I bring it up from the bottom of that section. You want to drag it out a little ways, but not all the way. Depending on the actual colour you want will depend how far you bring your darkest colour out. I'm going for a brunette, so obviously I am extending my brown further than you would do if she was a blonde. And then moving into that Van Dyck brown, sharpen my point slightly. And again, I'm still starting from the bottom edge and I'm just bringing that up again over the top of that darker brown, and I will start to work that a little bit further up than the other colour, but I am still putting it all the way to the ends. I'm mixing those and layering those colours together. I don't want my brown to just stop and it be black. Always flick from the edge inwards and then from the top Keep turning your pencil to keep your point, and do sharpen your pencil if you need to. Once you're not seeing those individual strokes, you just don't have the point you need. I'm then moving on to my next brown, which is raw umber, I believe. And again, I am coming from all the way from the bottom of the hair and bringing that up, extending it a little bit further again, but I am taking it all the way from the end. Same from the top. Extend it down and in. What that will mean is the darker parts of your hair still have the other colour tones in there. So you're mixing them in. You'll end up with those little strokes, colour pencil lines that will make it look like real hair as it builds up. Brush off your excess nice and gently and not smudge your Prismacolor everywhere. Right, next colour for me is brown ochre. We're just continuing to bring in lighter shades, and it really will depend on, you know, is your hair, do you want dark brown, do you want mousy brown, do you want a blonder brown, do you want to add a bit of red into your brown? Sorry, I'm leaning on my brush, let me move it. So as you bring in your extra colours, it will change the colour of the brown you're creating. And then I've got my cream as a bit of a blender colour really. They're quite nice and opaque, these polys, they lay over each other really nicely, I will say that. Now obviously I've brought that colour down quite light. So all I'm going to do is go back over the top with my two darkest shades because I want a darker brown. So that would depend on the final colour that you want. You're not going to get a million layers. This is Amazon paper. Bear it in mind. For how much you're trying to put down on your page before you just make a mess. Just bringing my darker shade in a little bit further this time, just to give those, so you start to see those individual strands. And then my final colour being the Van Dyck brown. Sorry, that last one was the dark sepia. I'm just really extending that all the way out this time, just to reduce that highlight all the way to a minimum. I'm going to brush that off, and that is our hair. I'd probably add a slight bit of red in there, to be honest. I don't think it would do any harm to just take out that very brown tone we've got going on. And I may, shall we do that? Shall we take the thing that we're not too happy with and fix it instead of just going off somewhere to do it? Bear with me while I open my box of pencils. And just dig ourselves out a really dark red. Don't think it particularly matters. Do we want? I've got a wine red. Yeah, that will do. Right, shut that back up. Oh, let's try not to break our desk or our pencils. It's a good job they're in a box, isn't it? Right, let's try this. So I've added 033 wine red into this blend just because it's It's too yellow brown for me. I'll just play with it until we like it. We're getting to the extent of what this paper is going to let me do. That's why you always start with a patch in the back like that. That's better. So, do we need to adjust our colour set accordingly? Probably. What we want to do then is take out this medium, we'll take out this raw umber and we'll swap it for wine red. So we've got a little bit of a red tone in with that brown, just to create a warmer colour. So we'll go again with our new set. Let's find a patch of hair somewhere. Let's do this bit. Dark sepia, flick it in from the bottom. Longer section, so I'll have to bring it a bit further down. It's grayscale, use the clues they've left you. And then we'll do this Van Dyck brown. Sharpen your pencil if you lose your point. And then we'll move into this wine red. Not too much, you don't want it red. I just want to add a little bit. Just a little bit of red into that colour mix, just to warm up that brown. And there we go. And then, what are we on? Brown ochre. That's the paler brown. Bring that down. And then we'll go back in for some of that darker brown. So dark sepia, work that over some of this blonde. And the Van Dyck brown. Not my favourite pencil for this paper. We learn something new every day. Just back in with that brown ochre. A bit more of that wine red. Tiny bit of that cream, more to blend some of that in than anything at this point, to be honest. want a final bit of the dark brown. I'm going to go with that Van Dyck brown. Where's my brush? Right, brush all that away. Not awful, not amazing. Like I say, not my favourite pencil on this paper. The Amazon and the Lyra are possibly a no for me. But again, we'll get better as we go along, and that's why sometimes it's better to go a little bit bitty and leave these harder bits for last and work your way up to them. Right, let's do... So essentially, guys, you're just going to repeat that. More highlights in these top areas. So a little bit more of the blonde in here to create some lightness to these colours. Whereas obviously in the bottom, I've gone a little bit darker. In the back, I've gone a little bit darker. All you do is add a little bit more highlight when they're further forward and to the top. I want to go do a little bit of her clothes with you guys. See, as we already have some blue in the page, I'm going to stick with that because I think her eyes are also going to be blue. So we're going to take these pretty little squares that she has and we're going to colour in the powder blue. Back to the Prisma now, 1087. We're going to do a light layer on the light side of the squares. All of these, and we'll do one section and then you'd repeat as you go along. I'm taking my middle blue, the cerulean blue 103, and I'm just going to shade that pale colour in just to give it a little bit of depth. We'll mix that in a moment. In the bottom of these, it would just be a little bit darker. I'm going to do the same. Back in with that powder blue. Just blend that together and in. We're essentially just deepening up that powder blue. Same in the top here. Mark off the end of your Prisma, they will catch the other colours. Same here. And then I'm going to take my darkest blue, this indigo blue, and I'm going to lay a very light layer of that in the opposing triangles into the bottom halves. And then a little bit of that cerulean blue into the middle. missed one, do this one. And then we're going to take that powder blue, blend that down. That will give the two blues, and just rinse and repeat that for her top. You can use a light, medium, dark of any colour you want to create your triangles. She could be purple or pink. Would look just as effective with the colours we've chosen. Eyes. Let's sharpen our points. So I want her eyes to be blue, but I'm adding a little bit of this pale sage, and I've got this brown chocolate as well. So chocolate 1082, pale sage 1089, and then the three blues, they'll all be below. I'm going to pop some of this brown around the inside edge. Just go all the way around. Do you want me to bring you in for this, guys? If I can work it out, bear with me. And then you can hopefully see a little bit better what we're doing. So just right around the outside of the pupil, and then where she's drawn in these little marks for the irises, I'm going to add those. Prisma, so we'll have to be careful now that we don't just smudge those right out of place. So that's my brown. Just push that off. And for my, obviously there's a lot of greenery around her, so I'm literally just going to add in a little bit of green for the idea of the reflection. About here. A little bit of that pale green. And then we'll go in with our indigo blue, so our darkest blue. I'm going to pop that just around the top here. In the shadow. Same here. She's kindly left where your highlights would be, so we're going to leave those in. Well, there's your highlight and then there's your reflection, so you're picking up reflection, so I'm going to leave those be. My medium blue is my cerulean blue. I'm going to bring that down a little bit, and I'm going to ring the edge with that as well, right underneath that green. That nice rich blue in here, so just all the way around the edge, and then I'm going to work it into this brown a little bit in between, and then I'm going to take my pale blue, the powder blue. I'm going to get myself a real good point on that, and I'm just going to smooth that in here and here. Trying not to drag the colours around too much. So I'm actually going side to side, smoothing the edges. I'm almost working around that brown, so you will want to kind of just sweep your bits off. I hope you guys can see. We can only hope. Shall we bring you more into the middle a little bit? How's that? Just bringing that up into that brown. I'm going to kind of just smooth that into the green a little bit and then leave that green and come up and around here this side. So I've got a little bit of green in that blue as well. Bit of green, bit of brown, bit of blue. And that would be it. And you just rinse and repeat for eye number 2. So we're going let's tackle the favourite bit. Let's mess it up now with the skin. Right, we'll move some of these bits and pieces out of the way. For the skin, got a few colours to play with, and we will see. So I have 1012 jasmine, 914 cream, 997 beige, 1092 nectar, 1017 argyle rose, 1099 espresso, 1082 chocolate. I'm going to come back out a little bit so that you can see. And we'll start with the neck, practice our colours. I'm going to lay down that jasmine, which is essentially a yellow, as my base layer, which will be the undertone of my skin. So we've gone for a yellow undertone. I'm laying that down very lightly, barely any colour. So we don't want the full extent of this yellow, we just want it to have a yellow cast to the paper, and that will give us a yellow undertone. Put that right across for our base layer. Now you may want to spend a bit more time than this, doing it slightly quicker for camera. So we're going to go with, I have this clay rose, which I called argyle rose, that would be the non-English version. 1017 is kind of a lavender mauve sort of a pink, and I'm going to add that into my shadow areas. So kind of a mauve pink with a hint of a lilac you want. Just to start building up, in essence, the shadows of her skin, very lightly. Again, we are Amazon paper. Cannot emphasize enough that you're not going to get too many layers down on this. I'm then going to add this kind of pinky tone, this nectar, 1092, and again I'm going to place a very light layer of pink all the way across over that yellow. As light as you can. It's going everywhere. That one. And we have kind of our base colour. So a little bit of a cool tone in her shadow, and a yellow, and then a pinky base, for if you're using different colours to me. And then have this beige colour. It's a very neutral, creamy beige. And again, I'm just going to lay that over the top of everything. Might give you more of that traditional skin colour at that point. Right, we're going to go in with our chocolate. We're going to be very careful now because we've moved straight into quite dark brown shades. So, right along the edges, a little bit of that chocolate. Very carefully. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on. Bringing that into our shadow. I'm essentially just adding in the neck muscle that you'd have in the front there with this little V shape. And then putting that in shadow. Under her face there. And then with a very dark, very neutral brown, so I've chosen espresso 1099, so there's no warmth being added this time, just adding depth. As I've said before, it's kind of scary putting dark colours down that are that dark, but if you don't get your dark right, you know, dark enough, as weird as that seems, then the light won't be right. It needs that contrast. Just lay it down lightly, and then you're still going to be able to blend all your edges in and get that smooth look when you're finished. Now I'm going to go back to this beige because this is essentially my main skin colour, and in little circles starting to build that up a little bit and blend everything together where they're all meeting. There's not going to be a lot of light on the neck, but there'll be a little bit round here. So at this point you need to be starting to avoid building up any areas where you want your light to be. You can always add them in now if you like, but I'm going to work around mine. Just leaving a little patch that's lighter, you'll notice. And I'm going to go in with my cream in that lighter area now. And back in with my espresso, because you will lose your depth once you're blending over it. You have to just put it back in a little bit. Right, and again with our beige, blend that back in. Just along those edges. Now, by no means am I a skin expert. I am most certainly a skin beginner. So, I definitely wouldn't take the way I do skin as gospel. I'm showing you how I do it, but I'm still very much working on my technique as well. It gets better each page I do. Just got to keep working on it. Right. There we have it. She has a neck. So yeah, I hope that makes sense, guys. You've got your base set of colours. So for the face, I would lay a little bit of the cream just in the highlight zone, just down that nose, on the tip, tiny bit maybe on her chin if you want that kind of, you know, pointed chin, a little bit just here, tips of her cheeks, a little bit on the forehead, and then you can lay your normal your base layers, so your yellow and then your pink and your rose into the shadows first. And the reason I put this rose into the shadows first is it just gives it that lilac-y tone, so they look a little bit more realistic, and it's then easier not to put too much brown on top, so you don't end up with that, you know, you pop a bit of brown and think, oh crap, I'm stuck with that now, that's way too dark, and they have this really weird brown patch everywhere. But yeah, we get there, guys. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to do this as a ribbon rather than her hair. It could be her hair, but mine's going to be a ribbon, and you'd either bring your blue in, or it could be green. I was originally thinking green, but in fact I think I might still do green and then add this gem as a blue, because I think it will really bring out her eyes. Maybe I might go with that. And essentially that is all the parts that you need to create a comprehensive page. I feel like realistically I should at least start the face with you, because that's probably the bit that people want to see that they're going to struggle on. It's only because it takes such a long time, but we can make a start together. So as I said, I would put a little bit of cream in my highlight places, so here, up the nose, bit here, and it's mainly to map out for myself which bits to work around more than anything else, to be honest, so that you remember. Tiny bit on the tops of the eyes, bit here, and then here where you're kind of, think where your highlight goes when you do your makeup, just in here. And like I say, it's to remind you more than anything. I don't like a prominent chin, so I'm not going to do that. And then we can start in the way we did. So the jasmine yellow for her base layer, that gives us the undertone to her skin. She'll be yellow. For a fairer skin tone, just make that pink instead, just a very pale pink. That would give you a fair tone instead, if that's what you require. So I'm working around my cream areas this time, just because I do really want proper highlight for the face. Just going in everywhere else with that yellow. I'm going to ignore that heart. Over the top of that, we're going to do that nectar, which is the pink colour. Very lightly again, not adding too much colour. Again, I would advise doing this slower than me, if I were you. Get a much better, softer blend when you're finished. I'm also going to lay that colour everywhere but our little highlighted areas. experimenting with our... I'm not going to do my shadow colour yet. I'm going to do this beige. Same again. I'll put that everywhere. All the way around. Top of the face. Pretty safe while you're doing these paler colours. And just build that up. And in everywhere and around. Again, just avoiding the highlighted areas so we're not making them too dark. Okay, let's add our clear rose into some of these shadows now. So a little bit in the side of the face there. Bring that down and in. Down the nose and under the brow. I would normally turn the page, I'm trying to behave, so bear with me. Same again, just up in the sides of the face there, where that shadow is. I love this little button nose. Try and keep that shape if we can. It'll make her cute when she's done. The beauty with Prisma is you can kind of be that little bit rougher. You wouldn't get away with this as much with something that's not going to move, to be honest. Get rid of a bit of that dust. So hardly anything to her yet, but we're laying the foundation for things. So again, we're going to go quite scarily into the chocolate, so we're going to be careful. Start to fill these shadows up now. Bring that in from the sides of her face, a little bit under the hairline, cheekbones, under the eye there. Do need to accentuate the nose a little. And the eyes. And we're going to add that little bit of smokiness under the lash line there. And the nose. Again, trying to maintain that little button nose shape that she has. Oh, made a bit of a boob there. Don't really want that much brown. I'm just gonna. This is why you lay it down really lightly, because you've got more chance of getting it up. Just going to pop some of our underlayers back in there. Bit of yellow, bit of beige, bit of pink, Not to worry, that bit's darker. I've built that up quickly. That will fix as we come around, so nothing to panic about. Not this early on. Got the shadow from her hair and her chin, cheekbones, jawline. And her face there. Same again, smoke that out. Right, our scary espresso, so only a little bit with this, all the way in, very light pressure. Just really smoking that out now. It's gone all quiet now, I'm concentrating. I don't want to mess this up at the final hour. If we can help it. Right, we're going to take our beige colour. We're going to remove all the loose bits of pencil, and we'll start with her forehead. We're going to go very lightly where the browns are, just to blend that in, and then add a bit more pressure to create that beige. Same the other side. Nice and light, blending and dragging that in, and then we can add a bit more pressure then. Okay, we've got our little highlighted middle area that we're going to do cream, really blend that through. Starting to get some shape to her now. Back to our beige. I'm going to start here, I think. Why not, eh? Where we're going over the other colours, we're being very gentle. Circles, blending that in, smoothing that through, pulling those colours together. Without just moving them all over the place and making a mess. If you put too much pressure on your burnish and you're done, can't do a lot with it at that point. So you need to be at the point where you like where you're at. This is what I meant about Prisma. You can kind of just cheat, really. Smush it, blend it. You'll get away with more than you maybe would have done. Right, I want to add a bit of pink to this now, so we are Nectar. I'll layer that across that cheek. Back in with the beige. Circles to move it. As you come into the browns, be careful which direction you're pulling things. You want to stay in the area, just blend it in, don't spread it out. And we're heading to this highlight area now that we were preserving before. So I'm going to go back in with my cream for this part. You can really use that to smooth that out now. The idea is she'll look like she has shadow and depth without looking like we've aged her, because that is not what we wanted. We still want a youthful face, so quite a smooth skin tone still, just the shadows add dimension rather than age is the idea, we can hope. Same again, we're going to highlight that brow bone. Oh, clean your Prisma, clean it off. There we go. And then you can really blend that in with that cream. And hopefully you can start to see that shape coming into place while still kind of maintaining the colours that you want. You can play with this contour a little bit as you need to get the shape correct. Add a bit more pink to add some, you know, life to her. in our cheek area. And it will just bring, it kind of add some fullness to that cheek. And that is that. Yeah guys, so I will be back when she is complete to show you the finished page. And apart from that, I will see you in a moment. Right guys, we're back. This is what we've got. I realised I didn't do the lips with you, so I've left those and we'll do them together. So I did what I said I would. I finished all the leaves the same way that we did. I didn't change my dots in the end, my little splashes of water here, so I did them all the same way as the first couple that we did together. I finished her skin in the way that we showed, and I did do the hair in the combination with the same pencils that we showed. Not my favourite pencil type for this paper, not gonna lie. And my little frog guy all finished, and I went and finished her top. Her eyes are complete now, and so we're going to do, I did in the end decide to make this out of her hair. I liked the natural look of it. I filled her eyebrows in the same way that you would hair, and all we have left is this bit of jewellery and her lips, which I thought we'll do together. Just going to zoom you in. We'll do the lips first, might as well. I'm just going to go with some colours that we've already used in the page, so we're not adding anything in. I've got 924 Crimson Red, 1092 Nectar, and 140 Eggshell for this. I'm going to take that Crimson Red 924, and we're just going to fill in the darker areas of the grayscale. I'm going to pop a little bit into the line there just to make that a little bit of a red tone, and then we're going to work that into all the darker parts of the grayscale. Hope you're liking the way the page turned out, and I hope you're enjoying yours if you have decided to colour along with me. She's been rather a fun page, and I must admit I've really enjoyed how the Prismas have worked on this paper, so not mad at them. Like I said, did not enjoy the Lyra polycolor as much, but live and learn. Not do that again. Let's do a bit of a lip line. Ooh, that got a bit hinky there. Apparently she's had some lip filler as our little elf girl. Whoops. And of course the dark centre. And then I'm just gonna, where we've got these lines on the lip, I'm gonna add those, and then this little bow here. And then I'm going to take that Nectar 1092, and we're going to blend that in together and work in the rest of that pink. I'm going to leave some of the paler patches for some highlight. See if we can blend some of that crazy red lip line that we messed up there. Just blend that in a little. And then with my eggshell, I don't want to remove the white. I'm just going to go around the edge of the pink a little bit. Just add a little bit of yellow around that white. Just to smooth the blend rather than remove all that white. I have to do something about that bit of red. Bear with me. Let's smush that in a little. Okay, pink lips. I might just now add a little bit of the red back in. Blend that out with the pink. A little bit more this side, I think. There we go. Just want to make sure we've covered all that grey. Okay, lips done. Easy. Right, jewellery. I remembered my brush this time. Go me. Let's just brush that off so we don't make a mess. One earring. I'm just going to go with blue. We've got blue in the page, blue in her clothes, blue eyes, so we're not messing about. I've got that blue indigo 901, cerulean blue 103 and powder blue 1087. As I said in the beginning, once I've got a set of colours, I try not to add too much into the page. I just kind of swap round the way that I use them and what I use together so that you don't start to clash. It'll look more comprehensive that way without having really had to put too much effort into the planning of it. Again, pop our indigo blue into the darkest parts of that earring. I'm taking some liberties and extending the darker blue, just because I want to. Changing the shape of that jewellery a little bit, just to add a pattern almost. And then with that cerulean blue, I'm just going to go around that a little. Give the Prisma too sharp a point. Leaving a little bit for my highlight colour. Almost so you end up with a bit of a swirl pattern to it. We'll just sharpen everything because we need it's quite a small space. Just going to blur in a little line there, little line here, that bit in the middle, and this bit here. Trying not to pull too much of the dark blue into that so that it keeps, because obviously Prisma will do that. I want to keep that kind of swirl pattern to it. And then our very last piece to complete our page, our heart. Again, my indigo blue with a real nice short point. I'm going to pop that just here underneath the highlight part of that heart there, and just above a little bit, and then in this side as well. Nice fine line there. I think we'll give it a dark blue edge as well. To be careful with this bit now. And then with that cerulean blue, I'm going to bring that along the edge there. And in here. Trying to maintain that kind of heart shape to it. Got a bit of a highlight there, so I'm going to go around that. And then I'm going to take my powder blue and I'm just going to colour this little heart whilst trying not to just drag all that blue straight in. So I'm trying to bring it, like, colour it outwards almost. Easier said than done. And then I think, to be honest, we'll take a white gel pen. I'm using a Ohuhu, but it really doesn't matter what you use, and I'm just going to really ramp up the highlight there. And yeah, I'll bring you back out if I can work it out how to do it. Bear with me. Wiggling, right. And right, there we go. We have Fairy Lake by Derya Cakirsoy in Color N Chics, book 2. I'm really pleased with how she came out. The hair's not my favourite, and I definitely wouldn't use those pencils for that in here again. But again, you know, you learn as you go. It's up to you if you want to take your black and pop that little beauty spot back in. And it's also up to you whether you want to darken these hearts with a bit of black. I've opted not to. I don't really want them to stand out. So I've just decided to leave them and ignore them. And yeah, guys, I really enjoyed the page. I hope you found this useful or interesting in some ways. And thank you so much for joining me for these videos. As always, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up for me. And if you like the channel, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.